Hi, this is Siofra Bradigan, and this is Siofra's Magic Alcove. Been trying to decide what would be a good subject to talk about, because there are so many subjects, and decided that there's a few things that you need to know in order to do other things. So, with that in mind, I'm just going to ramble on for a while and see what comes out. I'm sure if you've read a number of books at this point, you've discovered that most of the magical books, when they talk about casting a circle, they talk about casting the circle around 3 times. And the question comes to mind as to why do we cast the circle 3 times and what is the significance of that. So here's my take on that. First off, casting a circle is to create I like to call it like from a space term, it's kind of like an airlock between 2 different kinds of atmosphere. So you've got your regular, ordinary day kind of reality, and then you've got your extraordinary, magical reality, and all of the beings and energies that exist within that. And you want to create an environment where you and them can sit and have a talk and meet and encounter one another and so forth. Where they're comfortable, you're comfortable, everybody's good. So creating the circle is a way to create that kind of a space, that airlock idea, where they're comfortable and you're comfortable too. And you're creating an environment where we leave everyday kind of things behind. So when you cast the first level of the circle, I imagine that what you're doing is you're drawing it in physical reality, because you're starting off as a physical being. So it would make sense that the first circle you draw is on the physical plane. Some people like to do physical with objects. Some people do like a line of salt around their circle, or draw the circle physically in the sand if they're on the beach. Or take flowers and put them around in a circle, or have a ribbon, or some kind of string or whatever that they can cast in a circle. These things can be nice as far as helping you to visualize the boundaries of your circle, but they're not actually necessary. It's mostly your imagination and how you visualize the process that matters the most. So the first circle you draw, you visualize that you're creating a physical circle. It's an actual, substantial kind of creation. And then the second circle that you draw, you're going to draw on the astral plane. Now, the astral plane is kind of an energy above physical that has all of the emotional components to our feelings and energies. Our astral body resides there. It's often a place where people experience their dreams when they're asleep. But the idea is that it's a more subtle kind of energy or plane than physical. So it's not dense like physical matter is, because physical, you can touch it, you can play with it, you can pick it up, you can do things with it. Astral plane, you can't do that kind of stuff with it, but you can feel it. And so when you're drawing a circle on the astral plane, you want to feel the energy inside of you, feel the emotional component of drawing that circle and sensing that there is a boundary that you are creating in the same plane above the physical circle you've just drawn. That helps to keep your emotions in, and then allows the spirit or being's emotions to come through on that level, because you want to meet them as much as you can on the level that they're at. So the third circle that you draw is on the mental plane. That's where all thoughts and ideas and notions of all reality start before they become physical. And it is less substantial than feelings. It's all kind of like in the mind, in your ideas and your thoughts. And so you draw that in the mental plane, and that's how you draw your 3 planes and your circles. You can use different objects to represent those things. A lot of people use things that are associated with air to represent the mental plane, like bells, singing bowls, feathers, things that move the air, colors to represent it in your mind, like yellow, which is more appropriate for the mental aspects of the air than it is for like the pure physical aspects of air. And so that's the first thing you need to learn how to do, is how to draw, or I don't know, what's the right word, cast that kind of a circle. And you can practice that. You don't have to necessarily have something in mind that you need to have done. You can practice drawing the circle on the 3 planes and start to get a feel for what that is, and then undraw it, starting from the mental plane first, and then undrawing it on the astral plane, and then undrawing it on the physical plane. In the tradition that I follow, we invoke and build things in a clockwise direction. We banish or dismiss things in a counterclockwise direction. And there's no specific reason that it has to be that way, except that's the one that fits the best for me. But whatever you start off with, try to stick to. I had a personal experience with that at a medicine wheel ceremony that I went to, where we were trying to build up energy to send to one of the medicine men who was sick because of all the healing work that he had done. And someone in the audience was rather rude and abrupt throughout the entire weekend that we were there, and stopped everything that we were doing as we were dancing and singing and chanting around in a clockwise direction to ask the question, why are we going clockwise? Not everyone goes clockwise. And the woman who was leading that circle was too polite, I suppose, to tell him to sit down and just experience it and stop behaving badly. So she says, okay, fine, we'll do it the other way, because it doesn't matter. And my experience of that on an energetic level was that as we went counterclockwise, we had to go counterclockwise as many times as we had already gone clockwise to get to a neutral position to be able to start building energy back up. And so it was just sort of a waste of time and effort that we had to undo what we had done in order to do it a different way. So that's just something to keep in mind. Whichever way you're going to do it, you don't want to change in midstream and then go in the opposite direction, because it does make a difference as far as how the energies react and how they feel for you. So once you feel comfortable with that, with the idea of drawing the circle and then undrawing the circle, then you've got a good foundation to start building on. And that foundation isn't just for doing a ritual and having a specific goal in mind. You also want to learn how to do that around yourself, because protecting yourself is of vital importance, especially when you start this work. You're going to find that things are going to come up for you. Thoughts, emotions, feelings, memories, experiences, dreams, all sorts of things. And if you are in the least bit sensitive, you're going to start feeling these things from other people as reflections of what's going on inside of you, and sometimes as what's going on inside of them. So to maintain yourself and to try and stay as clear as possible, especially when you're in a public setting, it's a good idea to start that process to learn how to build up your own individual shield. The tree meditation that we've done previously is the beginning to that, because that allows you to start taking more responsibility and more charge of your own personal energy. And then you can add the ideas that we just talked about of casting that energetic barrier around yourself, so that the energy you want to come in can come in, the energy that you don't want to come in will be reflected back out. And I find that it's rather important to do that when you're going to a grocery store or a department store, and there's going to be maybe hundreds of different people, most of whom you don't even know, that are going to be wandering around, and your energy shield is going to be interacting with all of them. So it's a practice that by doing that on a daily basis, and by trying to be cognizant, aware of your energy and the difference between your energy and someone else's energy, that helps you to define your own boundaries and allows you to build up better boundaries for yourself, because then you know if something is trying to get your attention that's not you. You don't know who you are, you can't tell what's not you to start with. So sometimes assistants are useful for that, and I wear different kinds of stones in order to help me with that. I made this black spinel bracelet out of some stones that I bought at a local shop. And black spinel is really good at blocking negative energy from entering into wherever you have it, and it's charged up to do exactly that. And then I made a bracelet of green kyanite for my other wrist, and that helps to bring positive energy in and make sure that whatever energy I interact with is most likely to be positive and not to be negative. And that helps to keep my energy field more in control and clearer, so I can go grocery shopping and not come home freaking out. And this takes practice, which is why you do this on a daily basis, whether it's just a rock you stick in your pocket that you've charged up, or even, I don't know, a type of wood or a rune, whatever it is that you're using that you have a strong affiliation for and a definite definition of what it's for when you use it, that will become sort of a touchstone for you. So these are mine, you can find your own. And let's see. So when you're doing the Tree of Life meditation and practice, also as you're bringing that energy up your spine into the different parts, and you're bringing the other energy down into your body, be aware of the fact that there are a lot of different planes of reality that are out there, and try to allow yourself to expand your definition of what is life and what is consciousness, because for some of us there are things that aren't considered legally or officially alive, scientifically speaking, but which have some form of awareness or consciousness that we can interact with. So that's one thing. You need to learn how to do that so that you can control your environment and control your space and control when you're in it and when you're not in it. So, as far as the universe is concerned, it will respond to whatever you're doing. I think of the universe, or the Akasha, which is the higher plane element that we've talked about, as kind of a blank fabric, energetic fabric, that whatever you do in your life, how you treat people, how you treat yourself, how you treat your environment, that energy that you put out goes into that sort of blank slate fabric stuff, and then the universe responds to that energy and then puts back out what you've put in. So if you've had a difficult time in life and you've had some terrible experiences like I have in my past, it can take a while to shift that energy around so that more positive things are coming and less negative things, because it kind of builds up a wave of a charge of energy that it takes time for it all to come back. So even when you stop feeding the beast, as it were, and stop allowing yourself to experience those things or change how you're viewing reality, there's a buildup, a reservoir of energy left over. that you've already put out into the universe, into that fabric. And so that continues to come in your direction. It doesn't mean that you're failing at what you do. It just takes time to build up an opposite charge, just like when we were doing the counterclockwise after we did the clockwise energetic thing. It's exactly the same kind of thing. So as much energy as went in to making something, whether it's positive or negative, if you're trying to change that, you have to put as much energy in the opposite direction to unwind and undo it. And that's difficult for a lot of us to acknowledge or accept, or we want things to happen faster than that, like they do in TV, but they don't. We're a process just like everything else. So think about what it is you're putting out in the universe, and you're doing it for yourself and the universe. You're not doing it for your friends or your family or your loved ones. You're doing it for a personal relationship between you and reality. And so if someone thinks what you're doing is wrong, their opinion doesn't matter. It really has nothing to do with them at all. In fact, sometimes their opinions are the worst things you can listen to, because if you're going to become yourself, you have to feel what's right inside of you. So if you don't let yourself feel those things, to feel what's right for you, and do it because it's right, not because someone will praise you and say how great you are, or someone will get mad at you and be upset with you, but because it feels like the right thing to do, and that's the kind of relationship you want with the universe. That's the only thing that matters. That's the decision that you make every day, every word, every act, every time you walk outside, every time you go to the store, every time you get in your car. All of these little things add up, and they all matter. So being a witch is not a once-a-week job, or once-a-week celebration, or 8 times a year going out dancing with your friends under the full moon or the sun, or whatever holidays you're encountering. It's an everyday and every minute exploration of reality, because who you are becomes what comes back. So I think that's probably enough for one video. And so I hope I've given you something to think about. If you have questions, please feel free to send them in, and I will make an attempt to answer any questions that you have and be more complete. So this is Siofra Bradigan, and this is Siofra's Magic Alcove. Blessed be.